Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and welcome. The regular season of the NFL is right around the corner. We had some roster cuts, some roster movement, and to join me once again after making our near flawless predictions on the last program, it's a one Mr. Brian E. Roach. Brian, you don't ever sit up in your chair. There he is, unless it's like a bobblehead.
How you doing?
How you doing? What's going on, my friend?
Hey, I'm just sitting here doing nothing. Just, waiting to chill, waiting to talk to you, man.
Doing nothing. He's just, yeah, you were. You got me sooner rather than later, and you caught me in the middle. I was like, you know what? I better eat something. I got some time until Brian and I get on the horn later. And then he's like, all right, mid-bite. My first bite of my pepperoni roll, dude. The first bite. Where'd you go?
I'm over here.
Off camera.
I'm
He's there somewhere. He's always off camera. My homemade pepperoni roll made by moi, like very much indulging in the pepperoni roll. Mid-bite.
Yeah, mid-bite.
Because I got the Apple Watch too, right? So I get it everywhere. Phone's
that's
going,
why.
watch is going.
But Apple Watch.
Hey, we're tethered to all these smart devices, my friend. So, yeah, one day, I don't know. You're just not an Apple person, and I'm just not going to get you to see my ways. There was something I was starting to tell you off air here, which kind of parlays from the last.
I said I had some news.
So I think, all right, programming news, folks. We're going to get to 98% of people that tune in right at the beginning here, live show on YouTube, and then we'll have the replay available for everyone therein after, and for all of our audio listening friends as well. But live, we're going to do our AFC North predictions. Browns, Bengals, and Ravens, plus the Steelers' schedule. We're going to hammer through it. We were very successful in doing this last year. I feel some pressure, though, doing that live. I feel like some people could push us or steer us in a different direction and twist my arm. But next week, so 8 o'clock Eastern, live Thursday, but next week, I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I'm going to be out of town. It's Labor Day weekend. It's the end of summer. I'm going back to Chi-Town, and this is coming off of our conversation last week. There happens to be a particular band that have a little bit of a tour going on. They don't always tour. And, I got roped into going to see Pearl Jam. So after we just got to talk about it, I shouldn't say roped in. Exactly. Dude could sing. We just don't know what the hell he's saying, which is okay. It's par for the course. I oftentimes don't know the lyrics to songs, whether I hear them right or not. And so I'll either say the wrong lyrics on purpose or I'll cluck like a chicken. It's one or the other. So it's very interesting.
Oh, I don't want to sit near you at a concert then. But I've had people be mad at me because I sing too loud at concerts. And one guy turned around and said, he turned around and he looks at me. This was at a Paul McCartney show, right? Paul McCartney.
Oh.
The guy turns around and he goes, I paid to hear him, not you. And I said,
hey, he's not wrong. I was going to say, what concert were you at that somebody could hear you singing? Like, you could usually hear a collective. I'm sure you weren't the only person in attendance singing along.
My wife is embarrassed to go to concerts with me because I am like, if you've been around me, my voice is loud. It carries.
Someone said your voice was silky smooth when we first started doing this.
I know. I miss whoever that was because nobody calls me silky smooth anymore.
And that's
smooth, but I don't know about silky. Anyway, I'm loud. I'm loud at concerts. I sing at the top of my lungs. I enjoy myself, and people don't like it.
And it's probably because you're terrible. And I got no room to talk, man. I don't try. Unless you get a couple of drinks in me, and then if I go to like a Kiss concert, I'm probably carrying a note better than Paul or even Gene at this point. Those guys, it's still, like I was saying the thing with like Axl Rose the other day with Guns N' Roses. I respect the hell out of them. I mean, you imagine being like a grandpa. Well, you're close, but like 70 years old and rocking like that and wearing the makeup and being the demon and spitting fire and spitting blood and like that would be pretty cool. But anyways, I'm gonna figure out. I'm trying to line up something special for the holiday.
Okay.
This is my wizardry shake. I'm gonna come up with something. What on earth are you doing there? Yeah, do that. Maybe get Brian to actually do a solo show for a change. But the following week, the preview might be coming a little late for the home opener against the 49ers, and we'll see what we do. Usually I did the cheat sheet and everything, so I'm not slacking on anybody. I'm just letting you all know that it's the end of summer, and gotta get shit done. Like, I gotta enjoy.
Look, I don't know what your problem is. You're being lazy. I've told you a million times, just show me how you do the magic that you do to create the show. I'll figure it out, do one on my own. But no, you keep going, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time.
This guy's so full of it, folks. Like, okay, so we changed a little bit of the process. You probably saw this was well over a year ago, and Brian has not made any time in his schedule he doesn't even have this. You know why you don't have the silky smooth voice? Because you've never hooked your studio mic back up from like 2-3 years ago.
This may not be untrue.
If you're not aware, not only if you see all the helmets that Brian has behind him, he has just as many computer screens that you can't see.
Wait.
Off camera. Oh, geez, he's going to show everybody. This thing looks like the Starship Enterprise. And we're gonna get accosted here for not talking football. There's important football news here. That's why we're so geeked up and excited. We're geeked up and excited. We're gonna go out of order. I was gonna go in order, but is there any fun talking about the quarterbacks like we went on? Look at this. Look.
Did any surprises occur with quarterbacks?
Yeah, there we go. This is the list we had from the last show. Here's our list.
Who did we have at number one? Because we're missing somebody. Oh, Kenny Pickett. Oh,
Kenny Pickett. Well, I increased the size of the Excel spreadsheet. See, we have Excel. We don't have the budget here. I don't have the tools like ESPN has with all the special graphics and wizardry, and they could shift things around on their little surface.
I'm gonna buy me one of them smart boards and put it back here, and then I'm just gonna draw stuff on it. And
that's what I was saying.
Smart board, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have something like. I'm surprised you don't. But nothing happened with the quarterbacks. There's some people saying, "Oh, well, for all intents and purposes, we're about to contradict this statement," but we're like, hey, the smartest guys in the room, and people are like, oh, well, maybe they could trade Mason Rudolph or something like that, and Omar can get like a 3rd-round pick, and we're like, yeah, look at these guys on the roster. It's just a few days ago, you and I. Yeah, right. These guys have to have actual value. Who would be dumb enough to trade for like Kevin Dotson or Kendrick Green? And lo and behold, like we called the Dotson one though. We said if there was going to be any room on the roster for anybody else, like Spencer Anderson, 7th-round pick rookie this year, somebody's got to go. Green's got to get cut, or Dotson's got to get traded. Never in a million years did I think that Kendrick Green that there would be a suitor, especially the Texans. Like the Texans are like at the top of like the waiver wire. I know the Bears are numero uno there. Weren't they like 2nd or 3rd, like naturally?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, Kendrick Green is not a vested veteran. I'm perplexed by that. He would have just got cut. Omar Khan, and he got a 6th rounder. Now you think the Texans are going to be improved. The whole AFC South should be a little improved. So I don't know, like that should be a middle round pick based on their record. I don't think it's going to be like, they're not going to tank. It's going to be like the Bears on top of the 6th. And what do you do with that anyways? Well, it looks like, we'll talk about some more things here. Omar Khan's probably loading up for some ammunition to make trades for players on the back end of your roster or just fill them in with some draft picks or whatever. So, but I was like, I'm not so shocked that Green's gone or Dotson's gone.
Not at all.
Or so the fact that they actually got something for both of them. I thought Dotson, at least being a starter for the last few years, that's going to be valuable to somebody that doesn't have the starting offensive lineman or at least the depth. But Kendrick Green, I don't know that he was actually putting things on tape.
There was nothing about Kendrick Green's tape that was going to inspire you other than, look, if you were looking for a guy that could fall down or be knocked backwards, that was your guy based on the tape. There was nothing on his tape that was going to inspire somebody to go, I need to give up a draft pick for that guy. All I can think is that what they really decided was maybe he can be a guard, and we will try and bring him in and let him be a guard.
Possibly. Yeah, I mean, I was totally, I mean, I don't even know if surprise is I guess surprise is I mean, I don't know that he's like pro material. I feel bad saying that. Like,
I don't want to say too much because he snapped back at some guy. So maybe. I don't want we don't need Kendrick Green giving us hate on the show because we just don't. Not that I think Kendrick Green is going to watch this, nor do I think he cares anymore now that he's going to Houston, right?
Yeah, and you were like, do we have any good photos for Kendrick Green? And
well, that's still not the best, but hey, he's face front. That's a better picture. He's at least face down, meaning he moved forward as opposed to on his butt and on his back. So that's a complimentary picture of Kendrick Green.
I know, you could read his nameplate on the back, right? And okay, so Mark made a good point last week in the SCU back rooms, and he was talking about like, the short yardage packages and stuff like that. And that's why we're making some of the back and forth, because we're thinking like, okay, can Connor Hayward, they gave him some carries, can he actually be a fullback / running back? Do they keep 2 running backs? Do they keep 3 running backs? Has Anthony McFarland done enough? And if he does, then that makes it 4 tight ends. And can you keep 4 tight ends when you have one that's a rookie and one that's, Hayward's a slash guy, hybrid? He's maybe undersized. And yeah, so it was like, do you keep 8? Do you keep 9 offensive line? Like, where exactly do you draw the line when it comes to, who you keep and who you don't? I'm like grasping for words here specifically, but the Steelers 53-man roster, if you hadn't seen it, I'm pulling it up real quick. We're going to cover the rest of the offense here, but 9 offensive linemen, alphabetical order. Spencer Anderson, the rookie we mentioned, already making it, of course. Mason Cole. A surprise here. Dylan Cook.
That is a surprise.
Okay, so let me talk about Dylan Cook. I should actually bring it up and see. He played a mess of snaps in this last preseason game.
Yeah.
And it was something that kind of set off some bells and whistles for me, but I was too preoccupied with Anderson, Green, and Dotson, like at the bottom end of this roster, to think there was anything more than maybe a practice squad spot for Cook. He played 72% of the game. He only played 1 snap less than Kendrick Green did. I'm not sure what the exact snap totals were for the entire game. We'll just assume it was around 60 or something. Nobody played. Let's see, Logan Woodside played 52 for Atlanta, but that's their side of the ball. That would affect the Steelers' defense. So 58 for Nathan Brooks, corner. He played 85% of the game for the Falcons. So they had at least probably 65 plays or something like that. So pretty much 3/4 of football for both of those guys, if not more. So they were definitely testing Dylan Cook. We'll see. He's still going to be one of these guys that's at the bottom end of the roster.
Yeah.
James Daniels, Nate Herbig, who we were contesting, of course, they weren't happy with Dotson, so they go out and they sign Isaac Suomalo, who's the last on this list, and Nate Herbig. You got Broderick Jones, they drafted for the same reasons. They didn't necessarily maybe think Dan Moore was the strongest. They thought they could upgrade at least him or Chukwuma Okorafor. So again, you got Anderson, Cole, Cook, Daniels, Herbig, Jones, and then Moore, Okorafor, Suomalo. 9 offensive linemen. How many did we have? I'm looking here just to bring it up. I think we went with 9 as well, but we had Dotson and Kendrick Green in this list. The rest of this was pretty much.
You had Kendrick Green. I had what's his face.
You had Spencer Anderson.
Yes, I did.
And I said probably flip a coin. I was just going on, maybe they find a special role for this guy. Maybe they just like hyped him up and got the GM there for the Texans to get a little too excited. This guy was already playing draft day with his picks on draft day. So,
yeah. Hey.
So,
Kendrick Green, no matter what.
Kendrick Green, no matter what. I don't know about whatever. But this affects the rest of everything else, too. Okay, there's 9 offensive linemen. You did not trim down to 8. So are you going to keep 6 wide receivers? Are you going to be able to keep 4 tight ends? Are you going to be able to keep 3 running backs? No, that's too many players unless you trim from the defense, from the other side of the ball. So when you go to the tight end group and take a look at what transpired earlier today, the news probably dropped around 2 o'clock, where Brian just dropped right about now.
I'm here. I had to get something to do trimming with.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that a samurai sword? Yeah. You see that little smudge on it? That's Randy Jackson's signature. I mean.
Randy Jackson?
Yeah, It's a Step Brothers quote, and you don't know it, and that makes me sad. You're just not going to get Randy Jackson's signature. It's all he had on him, man, was the samurai sword. So he got Randy Jackson's signature. Anyways. The tight ends. Zach Gentry, we said, could be a bubble player. Hot seat. And out he goes.
Out the door.
Yes. We talked, maybe you didn't, but I talked maybe with Zach about this. And I said, that's why Mike Tomlin was on Grilling and Chilling so early during the offseason, like preseason. Better make your appearance now because this show's canceled. Unfortunately. I was speaking
Not renewed for the next season.
Yeah, I was speaking with somebody on Facebook, and they were like, practice. A lot of people are like, maybe practice squad. And I was like, so the practice squad is now 16 players. They no longer have the requirement for the tenured years. Like you were only allowed to have 2 accrued seasons as going toward a vested veteran in the NFL. And so Zach Gentry very well could be back as a practice squad player. They're going to allow like a regular veteran to take the mantle there, I guess. So,
yeah.
But yeah, they trimmed down. It is now, let's pull up the image, the graphics. You got Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Mount Washington listed as your only tight ends. The rookie, hell of a blocker. I was just a little concerned about depth, but if somebody gets hurt and Zach Gentry bounces back around and he's on the practice squad, then
could be the guy.
There's a guy. You never know, too. There's some other things with this roster we got to talk about that could happen. So, fullback, tight end / tight end, Connor Hayward, he gets his own little listing there. And that's where they make room. They'll jump over to the running backs. They ended up keeping 3.
They get it. Okay, you're running backs. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure you weren't jumping to the defense yet. Okay.
No. We've got to cover. There's quarterbacks. In fact, we could show the Kendrick Green thing again because this was Anthony McFarland stretching for touchdown. There you go.
Yes, it was.
Stretch it over Kendrick Green, who led the way for this touchdown in the final preseason game in Atlanta.
Doesn't it really kind of look like in that picture Kendrick Green's just asleep?
You get your time in where you can, man.
But I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I'm just tired.
Everybody's going to be wondering. They're going to have to go over to YouTube and subscribe to find out. So initially, the only way we find that picture, but if they didn't see it and they're listening to this, but the only way we made room for this originally was in order to get, and we had Anthony McFarland on our list, and to make room was we only kept 5 wide receivers. Well,
yep.
There are 6, and we made like a case as to whether or not Gunner could have been. It was really like, hey, between Boykin, yoy,
Miles Boyker,
yoy, double Boykin,
double Boykin,
Boykin, Gunnar Olszewski, and then Anthony McFarland, Zach Gentry, and then maybe like Kendrick Green. We had like 5 guys, and there's like 3 seats at the table for those guys. I think if my math's right, 2 or 3 seats. They're competing for. There's more bodies than there are spots.
Yeah.
So McFarland gets in. Gunnar Olszewski gets in there as well. I don't know what, I guess and did you see Steve Sims, who made the team last year as the 6th wide receiver? Yeah, he got released by Houston. So never say never as far as bouncing back around. You just never know. The Gunnar thing's a little curious. I'm not going to lie. Happy for him. I thought he got enough usage in the preseason that it would at least leave some doubt as to whether or not he would make the squad. So, that's about all the more I got to say about Gunnar. That's all the more I got to say about that. Oh, a
There you
little
go.
Forrest Gump quote.
Little Forrest Gump. Yep.
Yeah, but they kept 6. I guess you got another guy who could return kicks because I mean, like Calvin Austin hasn't done this yet. He's still effectively a rookie. So if he goes out there and runs a route the wrong way or something mid-game, he probably gets yanked and Gunner starts getting his reps if he's active.
And to be honest with you, he's not a big, Calvin Austin third is mini-me, right? He's a tiny little guy. I don't know that you want him returning kicks. I mean, I know that you do because of the excitement, but if he's going to be a part of the offense, I don't know. Do you keep Gunner just so that you don't get him killed?
Yeah, Gunner probably, I don't know, even going to say returns kickoffs. Isn't that how he
was
was
such a nightmare with it last year. He lost the job.
To be completely honest, though, he wasn't the nightmare. Like Ryan Switzer was.
Oh no, that's Ryan Switzer run around. Worse. Yeah, he was. He'd run all over the place and get 2 yards backwards.
A guy that really would run backwards. Yes. So bring up the. Can never find it here. So the running backs, there you go. Najee Harris, Anthony McFarland Jr., and Jalen Warren. Wide receivers, Calvin Austin III, Miles Boykin, Deontay Johnson, Gunnar Olszewski, George Pickens, and Allen Robinson. That makes your 6. Wide receivers, 3 running backs, 2 tight ends with the hybrid being Connor Hayward for your 3rd tight end, 9 offensive linemen, and of course, 3 quarterbacks. And now you can dress the 3rd as your emergency. So I like Mason Rudolph, like teams aren't trying to trade. Like if they just straight cut, that's what you got to know too. Like Zach Gentry is a vested veteran, which means he isn't subject to waivers. He becomes a free agent immediately. The strategy behind this now, I had to look this up. Like I said, I was still thinking, and I don't know if they changed it last year or they changed it this year, but I'm thinking maybe before, because it's hard to say like if guys like Wendell Smallwood were tenured. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up. We're tenured guys. But I started to think there were more veterans on practice squads last year than normal. So, but in recent years, or at least heading into this year, 16 players, doesn't matter now. Like you used to be ineligible if you had more than 2 years. 4 years makes you a vested veteran. So when you're cut, it's not waivers. You're going to become a free agent. The other guys go subject to waiver. So nobody's going to trade for Zach Gentry, for example, because he had literally 1 year on his contract. They signed him to a 1-year deal. Why would you trade for somebody like that? Like that's going to be cut and then becomes a straight up free agent. And in the case of a lot of the rookies, then they're subject to waivers and another team has to pick them up. Now they can't like pick them up and then sign them to a practice squad either. And you can't just sign, let's say the Steelers go ahead and when they announce practice squad signings and they bring back Zach Gentry and then Zach Gentry is signed to the practice squad. Another team has to sign him to their 53-man roster outright. So there's a lot of like strategy and stuff with this where you forget that Cody White and Akeem Butler were gone a week ago, but they could still be part of this because they will have gone through the whole waiver claim process already, and nobody's just going to pluck them out of the sky. But
aren't they both on IR too? So
yeah, I think Hakeem was actually waived injury designation, maybe.
Yeah.
Let me double check that. I could take a look at this right now. I love pulling up the transactions because, well, I forgot the Kevin Dotson trade was a 5th round. It's 5th and a 6th round, and then a 4th and a 5th where they're swapping in each of the next 2 drafts with the Rams. So that's kind of important too, because if the Rams they're a little shaky. That
4th round pick is a viable one. The 5th round pick could also be viable, and I don't mind losing a 5th and a 6th. So.
I'm trying to remember who I was listening to on XM, former GM. It wasn't Bill Polian. That was one of the guys with the Giants in Rick Spielman. Spielman? Yeah, I think that's who it was. And he was talking about how like those picks, whether or not you use them to actually draft players or you use them to acquire players, it's almost entirely for depth in order to round out your roster. So no harm, no foul. That's why a lot of teams are willing to part with it. So Omar Khan's trying to get a little bit of bargaining chips here. He may have some more coming. And I was trying to see waived injured wide receiver Cody White and Hakeem Butler. So it's actually listed both ways. If you take a look at it off of Steelers.com, and it's actually listed with an ampersand, which usually it might say something like waived injured. See just below it, waived injured Duke Dawson and then waived Isaiah Dunn. So they must have both been waived with injury settlement. Good call, Brian. So you can't place them on IR and then bring them back anyways. So if the guys are healthy in October or something, then you can bring them back, I think. So a bunch of players in the NFL, too, on the PUP list that will not be playing for 4 weeks. All around. You've got, I can't remember his name now. The Colts running back that's holding out. What can I think of his name? From Wisconsin.
Taylor?
Yeah. What's his first name? Not Fred. Frank.
Bill. Joe Taylor?
Brian
Zach,
Taylor?
Zach Taylor? Fred? I don't know.
Ike Taylor?
His name's probably not even Taylor. I don't even remember what the hell his name is.
Jeez, oh man, like you're driving me crazy. How do I like totally lose something like that? Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, it was Taylor. See, I was half right.
Well, I knew it was Taylor. I'm not Taylor Swift, so I couldn't think of his name. But
never heard of that person.
Right.
I don't know who that is.
Set the attendance record at Acrisure Stadium.
Never heard of him.
Oh, jeez. Hey,
never heard of that
Taylor
guy.
could be a gender neutral name. Let's be sensitive to that right there.
Taylor Hawkins. I've heard of Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mr. Taylor Hawkins.
Anyways, Von Miller, add to that list. Kyler Murray, add to that list, and a few others that will not be playing. There's a pretty significant number. Austin Corbett, who is now playing on the offensive line of the Carolina Panthers. Quite a few notable names that are there. That gave me an opportunity just to bring up that Josh Dobbs may be starting week 1 for the Arizona Cardinals, who made a play to get him from the Cleveland Browns, who couldn't decide if they wanted to keep or release Kellen Mond all week. So Josh Dobbs gets sent there. I guess they really wanted him, and they're probably tanking. I'm happy that he may have that opportunity, right? They got Clayton Tune, and then their other 3 quarterbacks, Murray's on the PUP list. He's not playing for 4 weeks. They got rid of Colt McCoy and Jeff Driscoll or somebody.
How did that guy have a career? Didn't James Harrison almost kill Colt McCoy?
Yes, and I think it was like a Thursday night game. They were wearing the old 75th anniversary kind of Pittsburgh
I just assumed he died at some point, from 6 years later after James Harrison hit him. He just went, you know what? I should have died when that happened. I'm dead. But. I keep every now and then I'm like, Colt McCoy is entering the game. I'm like, what?
Now entering the game. That'd be a real reason to boo too. Like, I don't know. He did okay. He was winning games, but he just doesn't fit the mold, I think, of what they're trying to do. And that's lose to get Caleb Williams. So straight up tank mode. Dude's been around since 2010. I mean, that's a pretty healthy career. What do we got here for Colt? About 12 years, would have been his 13th season.
That's pretty impressive for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he played in 56 games, 36 starts, and quite a few of them, like over the last couple of years, he had 6 starts in each of the last 3 in each of the last 2 seasons with Arizona, and he went 2-1 and 1-2. But I mean, it was a dumpster fire team. Otherwise, he did
better than other loser quarterback that the Browns drafted that was from Notre Dame, whatever his name was.
Oh, Brady Quinn.
That guy. Yeah.
Before you specified Notre Dame, I was going to say which one.
Well, I know.
And, wait a minute. You could still say wait. You could still say which one. Was it DeShone Kizer from Notre Dame too?
DeShone Kizer was from Notre Dame too. But I mean, I know. Our resident Brown fan is losing his mind right now. But I mean, you have to admit they sucked at drafting quarterbacks. They did.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah. I mean, they had that laundry list. There may be somebody else that's like Spurgeon Wynn or somebody might have went to Notre Dame for all I know. So, I mean,
Brady Quinn.
I don't know if I want to go down the rabbit hole of.
No, let's not go down the Browns rabbit hole. We'll talk about the Browns on Thursday. Wait a minute. Do we have something to talk about Thursday? Are we going to do that now? Or are we going to wait until the end of the show to talk about Thursday?
Talk about Thursday. Well, I mentioned Thursday already. Where you sleeping?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I said 8 o'clock Eastern. I hope you're on board with that because I already announced it.
I remember now. Okay, I remember.
And I was going to jump to defense, but before I do, I think we got to show kickers and punters love. There's a lot of trades.
Well, wait a minute. Before we go there, I just want to do my math. I think the maths indicate, and we need like a little graphic that says, math with Brian or something. But the maths would indicate that we have 24 players on the offense that were retained. Is that what the maths are indicating?
I don't know.
So it's like 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs. That's 6, right? I can do 6. 6 wide receivers. That's 12. 2 tight ends, right? That's 14. 1 fullback guy. That's 15. And 9 offensive linemen. That's 24.
Whatever you say, pal. I'm not counting along with you.
So with three guys that are the long snapper, the kicker, and the punter, that means there's 26 that we've kept more defensive guys than offensive guys. That's my point.
Say so, Shirley. So
I do say so, and don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley, which is always great. Oh man, you've got me. Hold on a second. You've definitely got me thinking here, and I've got something for you because I'm just that kind of guy, and I worked really hard. This was Express Graphics that made this, not the highest budget, but we got Math with Brian.
Yeah, that's what I want. Maths with Brian, but you need an S at the end of that. Maths. This is the maths.
Maths. Okay,
Maths
we'll have
Brian.
to do
all right. I'm perfectly content with that as a quality graphic, though.
That is so.
It equals the ability of my maths. There you go. I applaud Maths with Brian. There you go.
But special teams, did you notice the special teams and not the Math with Brian? We've got to do something about that. Hold on a second. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Oh, that's because you won't see it there. Got to go all the way downtown.
Downtown. You went downtown too far.
Chris,
that's too far downtown.
But did you say 3 for special teams? There's 4.
What?
Yes, there's 2 punters.
My God. I did not know that.
You did not. Did you not see that earlier? Chris Boswell, of course, kicker. Christian Kuntz, long snapper, and admittedly boys with my cousin Brad. He sees him everywhere, and Christian Kuntz is like, "You're the guy who recognized me," like the only fan in the world. And then Presley Harvin and Braden Mann, and everybody's like out of their mind. They're like, "Wait, you kept 2 punters over Zach Gentry?" And that's where I'm like thinking, okay, Zach Gentry could be back. He's a free agent. Just hold your horses. This is transactional, and we're going to re-sign you. Or they make a trade. They free up a roster spot, and they add somebody that's off of waivers. Or
one of them 2 punters is not going to be there in 2 weeks.
One of those punters isn't going to be there tomorrow, my friend. And tomorrow,
I was going to say.
This is a later Tuesday recording for everyone. So here's my summation: is either one of these 2 guys tweaked or hurt something, and somebody's going to injured reserve because they got to make the 53 in order to call them back. Yep. Neither of them is a vested veteran, so they're both subject to waivers. So it would be very difficult with teams like the Eagles, I think, don't have a punter right now, for example. And yeah, that's kind of funny because Drew Chrisman actually got formerly of the Ohio State
University.
And the Cincinnati Bengals did not win his job in camp, and he's out there. So I think Omar Khan is either trying to work some things right now because there's how many kickers got traded in the last 2 days? You had Cade York cut from the Browns, and you had Dustin Hopkins traded over from the Chargers because I'm trying to think of the other guy who won that job with the Chargers. So the Chargers sent their kicker, Hopkins, who's an older veteran, 32, 33 years old, about the same age as Chris Boswell. They sent him to Cleveland for whatever late round draft pick. And then Will Lutz went over to Denver. And then Nick Folk went from New England to, I don't know where, Houston, somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember. I just know there was like 3 or 4 kickers that got moved around. Corliss Waitman, he was formerly of the Steelers. He's been bounced around the league a little bit and has some starting experience as a punter. He's floating around out there too, but it makes me wonder what the move is here from Omar Khan. If it's an IR move, let's say Presley Harvin or tweaked something, and that's why they're keeping Braden Mann, who has experience, played 2 or 3 seasons. He just hasn't had a 4th season to be tenured in the NFL. And from all counts and purposes, from what I saw, and there isn't a whole lot to look at when you're at training camp with that stuff. but everyone else's accounts that are actually paying attention to that stuff said, hey, he's been pretty decent. So there's a reason why they were holding on to him, and that could be it. There could be more transactions coming within the next day or two. Didn't want to subject them to waivers, so there may be an extra spot here on the roster.
And this segment should be called Kickers with Joe.
Kickers with Joe.
There you go.
I'm not going to take the time to squiggly line that.
I was going to draw it, but I don't actually have a pen and a paper. I don't have those things anymore. We don't write in the real world.
So this graphic was in fact correct. The maths with Brian, he only had 3 special teams.
I wasn't paying attention to that. All right. So the minor adjustments to the maths is we still kept more defensive players, but instead of 26, we kept 25.
It's almost an even split. Almost.
Yes.
Almost. You would think 53 minus the 3 special teams players would give you 50 divided by 2.
The math would tell you that that's 25.
Yes, it does. Yes, it works. Yes, I think it works. Okay. Defensively, there might be another catch release here too. We'll have to see. Let's just knock him down. Montravius Adams, we thought, hey, this guy could be he could be borderline, but he's got some position flexibility. Keanu Benton, rookie, obviously. Cam Hayward, still a grown-ass man. Marvin Leal. Isaiah Loudermilk. Some people had him on the bubble. I didn't. I kind of saw him clear, like, over Adams or Watts, probably. Like, wouldn't say clear, but clear enough. At least right now. What, entering year 3? Yeah, I still kick the tires. And, of course, Larry Ogunjobi. And we talked about Armon Watts being the more veteran guy who was, at least playing varsity ball against some JV guys at the very least. So, Brayden Fehoko is the guy that's a lot of Braydens, and you spell them differently.
Yeah.
San Diego State. Fehoko. Yes. And probably practice squad material. Not a lot of starts or playing time in the NFL. Probably won't garner a lot of interest as far as waivers or anything like that. So believe Fajoko's a waiver candidate. I should back up what I'm saying. So, there's a Simi Fehoko too. He's got like a whole family. And Viliami Fehoko, they got to be related. That can't be coincidental.
Well, then we need all of them. Let's just have a whole practice squad of guys named Fehoko.
Three seasons.
It'll be the Fehoko squad.
Three seasons. Throw up gang signs now. So 3 seasons in the NFL. So he's subject to waivers. Fehoko. Linebackers, man, only 8 on the lower end now for the Steelers side of things. Quan Alexander, since Anthony McFarland made the team with 26, makes you wonder if Quan's going to change to a single digit. We were surmising that before.
Yep.
Marcus Golden, Nick Herbig tearing it up in the preseason, 3.5 sacks. Alex Highsmith with the new contract. Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts, both new guys via free agency as well as Alexander was. Mark Robinson, the only tenured inside linebacker from last year's crew that's still back. And to be completely honest, with Highsmith and closing this out with TJ Watt as your outside guys, Herbig and Golden are new too. It's like 5 new linebackers out of the 8 that were kept for this 53-man roster. No Tanner Muse, no Nick Kwiatkowski, kind of veteran guys. We'll see. I don't believe Muse is not tenured or vested veteran. I should stop saying tenured because I think vested veteran is the appropriate term there, but you know what and then Kwiatkowski is, though. So we'll see if any of those guys stick to the practice squad because nothing else really stands out from that room, so to speak, as far as like players that could be added. Maybe they'll have opportunities elsewhere. The defensive backs room, they kept 10, right? Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We were discussing this
a lot of
bit.
DBs.
Yeah, well, it's 5 and 5 usually.
And we had a big miss here.
Who was the big miss? You're gonna say Elijah Riley?
Kenny.
Oh, Kenny Robinson. Yeah, I think well, we're talking with Flash. Flash was like really, I think, a little higher on Riley. I was higher on Robinson. I thought both of them had a shot, and rightfully so. I think Riley has the more position flexibility to maybe play a slot corner. But they're also going to use Patrick Peterson in that spot too. So, I mean, Chandon Sullivan, it's really no big surprises because you got all of them mixed together here. Minka Fitzpatrick, DeMonte Casey, Miles Killebrew, Keanu Neal, All safeties, and of course, KZ and Neal are listed as co-starters. Patrick Peterson, James Pierre, Joey Porter Jr., the rookie. Elijah Riley is your surprise, with Chandon Sullivan is like your veteran kind of slot nickel guy, and Levi Wallace, last year's outside boundary corner starter, who I believe will also be a starter probably week 1 as they ease Joey Porter into one of these spots.
Go back to that picture.
Okay, we could do that.
All right. I've been as the modern kids be saying, I've been a stand for Alex Highsmith, like since before he was Alex Highsmith. I've been in that kid's corner the whole way. What the hell? Did somebody just hit him upside his head before that picture was taken? What is going on in that picture? Is he looking at something so shocking that he can't believe he's staring at it?
I don't know, man. Actually, I kind of want to scroll the rest of the graphic too, because like it doesn't seem like, I don't know, like it's not the most flattering. You got Sumalo on there, which is cool.
Sumalo looks tough. I mean, Kenny looks normalized, right? He's like, Kenny looks a little like Kenny looks a little photoshopped there, to be honest with you. Like somebody like smushed his head a little bit. I don't know. It's not somebody. There's too much. He's wearing too much makeup in that picture.
Yeah, they did the Snapchat filter thing to him.
They over made up him for that picture. Minka looks okay in his picture, but Alex looks like he's like, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the guys in the defensive backs room. The only one we really swing and miss. I mean, we had Kwiatkowski. Actually, we could go with everything. Let's go Excel sheet. There we go. Hayward, Ogunjobi, Leal, Benton, Loudermilk. We had Watts and Adams both making his team. We pretty much nailed that. I actually didn't think we did, but we did. How about that? Pat on our back. Yeah, I think you may have had Fehoko on yours, but
I did. But I did that just to be,
contrarian. Yes.
Contrarian, yeah.
Which is fine. The linebackers room, we added an extra body. We had 9 instead, so Kwiatkowski did not make the cut. And then as you kind of scroll down here, we kind of had this pegged with the corners. Trey Norwood is the one that's on the outside looking in, maybe a practice squad candidate. Not exactly sure if he got hurt. I don't even know that he got much time in the preseason. Did he play in that last game? Now I got to look and see. I don't believe he was. Yeah, actually he did. Oh man, that's bad when I don't recognize that, right? That's got to be.
It is.
Not always with the defensive backs. Like if they're doing their job, then you shouldn't notice them, but something happened there. Something definitely happened there. So if you didn't hear a name mentioned, it's more than likely because they're no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler.
They're not there. Yeah. Look, they may be down to Quickie Mart. Could be over at the Quick Check, the Checkers. What's the other one? Stop and Go. I don't know. So
Wawa, Sheets.
Oh yeah, we got Wawas out here.
Bucky's.
Yeah,
do them all. But yeah, I mean the cuts really started with, I had that up on the screen, and it was like Madre Harper and Neville Clark and James Naiwama and BT Potter, like all the obvious folks. And then it was Lavert Hill, Manny Jones, Tanner Muse, Toby Ndukwe, LaRaven Clark, William Dunkel, Tanner Morgan, Darius Higgins, Jalen Elliott, and Kenny Robinson. That would have been everything on Monday. And then here on Tuesday, you had Kendrick Green traded for a 6th-round pick with the Houston Texans. And the releases were Luke Barku, Chris Wilcox, Braden Fehoko, Jonathan Marshall, Nick Kwiatkowski, David Perales, Quincy Roche, Ryan McCullum, Greg Bell, Xavier Valade, Trenton Thompson, Trey Norwood, Zach Gentry, Rodney Williams, Jordan Bird, and Des Fitzpatrick. So that'll be interesting to see how they comprise the practice squad. I don't want to get too much into predictions because there's probably stuff already out there. I hadn't taken a look yet. To see, here's some players that are starting to come back or anything like that. I actually don't think that. I think they have to wait till 4:00 tomorrow before that news starts coming through of who got all the waiver claims and everything like that. So, there's a lot of cause and effect going on out there. So, like Kendrick Green gets traded to the Texans, then the Texans release a center guard, Jimmy Morrissey. Like there's just everything has like a consequence pretty much to that. I believe the The Baltimore Ravens were trying to get Laquan Treadwell signed over to their practice squad. That was part of the rumor mill, the rumblings. I'm trying to think which other ones may have been surprising. La'el Collins with the Cincinnati Bengals starts on the PUP list. Will miss the first 4 games. What else came about? I'm trying to think if there were any other surprises. Anthony Schwartz got cut from the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that was
Schwartz.
Yeah, you remember Schwartz? He was like a really fast guy. He was like a 3rd or 4th rounder.
The only guy I remember Schwartz is the guy that stuck his tongue on. These guys stuck his tongue on the thing in Christmas Story. Wasn't that the Schwartz?
Oh, that's not what I was. The first thing I was thinking of was, may the Schwartz be with you.
Well, I thought of that too, but a little bit baseball's reference there,
Yeah. Everybody with the Steelers can be a dark helmet. So,
yes.
Oh, I butchered that. The Cardinals was actually Colt McCoy, David Blow, and Jeff Driscoll were all let go because Josh Dobbs wasn't there. So actually, the 3 of the 4, that was it. I guess Kyler Murray didn't count. He would have been a 5th quarterback. She said, yet another guy. I was like, if you could compile as many mid quarterbacks in a room as humanly possible, that's what Arizona was going for there. So,
gotcha.
And you know what? I'm happy for Dobbs, but man, he's set up for failure with that team. I just feel bad. I just don't think that the team has a lot of talent. And he's definitely a bright guy, but he's got to get on a moving train and learn all of this, and they're going to be playing in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeesh, that's
it's not the best scenario, but look, he's doing a Colt McCoy, man. How many years has Dobbs been around too? Like 6, 7?
Dobbs is he might be a vested veteran because let's see, he was at least a backup. I'm curious about that now. I'm curious. No. He's not, because only 2 of his seasons in Pittsburgh was he on a 53-man roster for at least 9 weeks. Yeah, you got to have half the season. But he's got 3 in because Tennessee, he was with Tennessee. Well, he might not there, too. I mean, he had 2 starts. I have to see when he actually started. I think he was there maybe long enough. It's kind of goofy how that ends up working, but he was at least with the Steelers. Although he didn't play, I'll take that back. How many games was he with Tennessee last year? Now I'm curious. So this is like 2%er trivia going on right now. 2%er trivia, and we can play
another graphic. The next graphic. Na 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 na. I don't know what the hell song you're playing. That ain't that pretty.
It was like Jaws. Da 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 da. Or no, da da. That's not. No. Yeah, the other one was Super Mario Brothers.
You're just terrible. You're terrible.
I'm very tongue deaf. He was with Tennessee. So he was on the Browns roster long enough last year.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think he's earning his health care and pension. So he's good to go there.
Good for you, Mr. Dobbs.
Yeah. Did you realize Josh Dobbs was with the Detroit Lions last year? Totally escaped my brain. So
I did not remember that, no.
Nor did I.
I will be fair and tell you that I really do not pay attention to what Josh Dobbs is doing.
Whereabouts? It's going to be kind of interesting because if he does want a future in coaching, you take a look at this. And he's been with the Steelers, and the Steelers traded him to Jacksonville, of course. Then he ended up, with Cleveland, and he ended up with, I guess, Detroit for a couple weeks, and then the Titans, and now he's going to Arizona. Learning a lot of stuff along the way, making a lot of contacts.
Like Josh Dobbs is a rocket scientist, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think there's a level of coach that is too smart for really too smart to coach because you outsmart yourself and you just end up doing things that are like this should work, but everybody else is like, what did you do? That was the dumbest thing you ever did. And then there's a level that's not quite that smart. That's like the Bill Belichick's and the great coaches, Tomlin, those guys, right? They're good. They're not the most genius guys in the world, but as far as football coaches, they're awesome. They're great. They're fantastic. I'm not really trying to insult all these guys, but they're not rocket scientists, right?
Okay.
They're not, super. I don't want to use that term, the super genius term, because it'll just make me annoyed with that guy. Anyway, yeah, they're not Mensa members, but they're very smart, very, very competent, highly successful football coaches. But it's like there's that sweet spot where maybe you're too smart, and I don't know. Josh Dobbs might be too smart to coach football.
There is a truth to that. Like you're talking over your subjects, over your subject matter, over your students and everything like that. So yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. That would be interesting. So I think that'll do it for us, man. We got a live show to catch up on later this week, 8:00 Eastern, Thursday night. on we're going to be into September, which gets us. No, we're not. It'll still be the 31st, August 31st. So end of the month. Yeah, I love your Mr. T chain, by the way, Brian.
I know. So, I'm just sitting here going, I'm wondering how many of the things that I have put on camera today has Joe actually noticed that I put on camera today?
I noticed all of them. I just don't want to acknowledge most of them. He throw me off enough. People are probably like, what is this guy? He's like, ho, hum, no, I'm not trying to sing Pearl Jam. I am, I'm tongue-tied because Brian's distracting me.
That's the way it goes. That's right.
It is. Well, folks, that'll do it for us. Thanks for joining us once again on the Steel City Underground podcast. Thanks for watching or listening wherever you may be. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a rating or review wherever you may be. We'll catch you again live Thursday night. Some AFC North predictions. This should be a good time as always. It's uncut. It's unfiltered. We will screw up. So come on along and make fun of us.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you this. There is a place.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I know that one. Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Don't forget to try the veal.
Yeah.
I upset somebody with that really bad one time. They're like,
don't do that, because nobody should ever eat veal. Veal's a terrible thing to eat. Don't do it.
The babies.
Baby cows. It's the baby cows.
Babies.
They don't get to walk around. They have no life. They're just sitting in a little pen. Don't eat the veal. It's a terrible thing.
Eat the liver.
No, don't eat that.
We established the liver and onions
that's disgusting. Don't do that.
Can't do that. Now I'm going to go finish my pepperoni roll, dude.
That's good. Eat that. Eat a pepperoni roll. That's what you should eat.
You sound like the Chick-fil-A cows with the sandwich boards on them, eat more chicken. Or you could just be like Ving Rhames on the Arby's commercials. We have the meat.
We have the meat.
We have more than enough. All right. That's enough from us. Folks, down to the 1%ers. Until next time, my name's Joe. His name's Brian. We encourage everyone out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.